Hey, it's Adam, and in this review, we're going to be checking out Vista Social. Vista Social is an all-in-one social media management tool with a couple of unique features that you might not expect it to have. But is it any good? Let's find out. Okay, so I've got a bunch of my social accounts connected. You can connect yours at any point by going to settings and then connected profiles. I'll give you the option to connect whichever you need to. Now, let's start off by checking out the dashboard. On the left-hand side, we've got all of our social accounts here. We can view our recent posts. We can also change that to scheduled. We can create new posts. We can view our calendar, and we can check out what's been going on in terms of published posts and scheduled posts. And we've also got some alerts here. So if there's any issues with your profiles, like if they need to be reconnected, that happens quite frequently, especially with LinkedIn. And then you've got failed posts, which is particularly useful if any of your posts get sent from Vista Social and they don't make it to the social network. Then you'll need to address that. You'll get the option to do that here. Okay, now let's check out the Create tab. This is where you'll go to create, schedule, and publish your new content. So we can add a new post, we can add notes and ideas, we can do bulk publishing, we can curate content, we can do smart publishing, we've got an Instagram planner, a TikTok planner, and a Twitter thread maker. Let's go ahead and find some content to get us started with a new post. And on this window, we have the option to find the latest news. We can look through Instagram hashtags, Instagram users. We can find royalty-free images from Unsplash and Pexels. We can find animated GIFs from Giphy, and we can find royalty-free videos from Pexels. Now let's go ahead and just check out the latest news. So we'll type in a topic, let's say SEO, and yeah, there's a bunch of unrelated stuff. I can see why some stuff's coming up, but others not so much. Still, it will give you some options. For example, this article from Search Engine Land, that would be a good topic to inspire a new post. Now let's take a look at some of the other options. I think the best things to be using here are the options to find images and GIFs. They're going to be the most usable. So let's go ahead and have a look for some images. I'll search for guitar because it's a topic very close to my heart, and we've got a Telecaster with a Bixby on it. It looks like a Bixby, so let's go ahead and select that. All of these are royalty free, these images, they're from Unsplash and Pexels, so that's a Fox amp in the background. Let's go and click create a post, and this will open up the composition window. So on the left hand side, we've got all of our profiles. This is going to be for my website called Tech Islands, so I'm going to untick all of the other ones. I can just hide those, and we've just got the Tone Island account selected. It's added a description which came with the image, and that's not looking very clever, so I'm just going to paste my own in. We can add emojis, we can add hashtags, we can add captions, and there's also options for custom fields, universal mentions, we can change typography, and there's even an AI assistant. The hashtag option will give you the ability to create some hashtag lists, which is super useful. You can also get hashtag suggestions. With saved captions, it's exactly that. It's a similar idea to the hashtag list, so you'll get a bunch of different groups of captions that you can add and reuse at a later date. We've also got character counts as well for each social network that we've got here. So if I add some of the Blogging Wizard ones, we'll see some of the character limits for some of the other social networks that I have connected with those brands. Okay, on the right hand side, we can customize how the post will appear on different social networks. So we've got different options for Facebook and different options for Twitter, and we have different options for other social networks. Nice thing about some social networks like Facebook, for example, you get the option to add first comments. So if you want to add a question or a link or something like that, something that you don't want to be in the main post, then you can add it there, and there are a bunch of other options. You can even select a boost and whatever you need to. Right, let's just have a quick try of the AI. Okay, so we've got the AI assistant, we've got a guided mode or an advanced mode. We've already got some content in here, so let's stick with the guided mode, and we can select a tone, and then we can select a format. With the format, it's more what do you want the AI to do with it? Do you want it to shorten it, expand it, or rephrase it? I'm going to select funny initially, and then it will generate a new version with no format. And we can then select expand, and it will give us a much longer post, or at least it should do. Let's see what it comes up with. Wilson! That's quite an odd reference. It completely fits. That's quite cool. I'm not going to use it. I like what I've got here, but that is quite unexpected. So if you want to use any of these, you can just click this button here to send it to the composer, but we'll just stick with what we've got for now. Okay. Now we have the option to either save this as a draft if we want to return to this later. We can add it to a queue. The queues are set up via an option in the settings page, which we've got set up by default at the moment. Now we have the option to schedule, or we can publish it now. I'm going to go ahead and click the schedule option, and now we can see how things are looking on our calendar. Everything's looking pretty freed up at the moment, so that's no issue. On the left hand side, we have the option to change the date and the time. The nice option here is the optimal post times. So you can see here some of the better times for these particular accounts are 2:30, just gone 5, and just after 8. We'll just select the best one here, 8:17, which is really specific. We also have the option to assign it to a team member, and let's just go ahead and schedule that. And that is scheduled. Excellent. Now we can head over to our social media calendar, and we'll be able to see how things are looking there. Okay, so now that we're in our social media calendar, it'll all look quite familiar. We've got our accounts on the left hand side, and I've got the accounts selected which are my Tone Island accounts. The calendar itself, we can customize how we want it to look a little bit. We can change the post preview, so we can either have no post preview or we can have small previews. So if you've got a lot of content, then you'll either want to go for small previews or without previews. We can also select the day of the week. We can select national holidays, religious holidays, fun holidays. For example, we've got Star Wars Day coming up, we've got Lost Sock Memorial Day, Chocolate Chip Day, etc., etc. And we can also display notes if we have any. We have the option to change the calendar to weekly or daily. I'll keep this on monthly, and we've got some filters, so we can filter by post status, we can change the users, we can filter by specific labels or types of content or queue labels, or whether a post has been boosted or not. We'll just leave that at the default for the moment. And at any point, if you do want to create a new piece of content, you can just click on any day in the calendar and it will open up the composition window. So we scheduled a few posts before, so we've got our post on Twitter and our post on Facebook. We can drag and drop these to another day, which is quite a nice option because it's allowing us to drag and drop them individually. So if we then want to have the Facebook post going out on a different day to the Twitter post, we can do that all nice and easy. Okay, so next up we've got the media library, and this is where all of your images, videos, sounds and documents will be saved to. So if you've created a new social media post, the media that you've uploaded for that will be saved here automatically, or you can add media directly to the media library by clicking the Add Media button. Now, once you've got a lot of content, you will find the filtering options quite useful. You can filter on the left-hand side by specific networks. You can use the search feature, or you can use the filtering options here, which will filter by type, format, labels, users, and usage. Okay, so next up we've got the social media inbox. This makes it easy to reply to mentions and comments across all of your social profiles. What's particularly nice about this is that it still supports Twitter, which is quite surprising because the API price increases that Elon rolled out were nonsensical. Facebook and Instagram charges nothing for access to their API, whereas Twitter started hitting up social media tools demanding in excess of 100 grand a month for some of the bigger tools. Some of the smaller tools were looking at over 100 grand a year. It was crazy. But Vista Social still supports Twitter in the inbox, which is brilliant. So let's check it out. On the left hand side, we've got all of our social media accounts. I've got the Tone Island ones selected at the moment. We've got all of our messages here. So if we click on this one here, we can see on the right hand side our conversation. So this is essentially a list of all of our interactions. So that makes it easy to see any times they've mentioned us in the past. We can like this, we can reply to it, we can add a label, we can copy the mention, we can create a task from it. So creating a task from it will allow us to assign that to another team member, and we have the option down here to reply as a DM or add a note. Okay, so once you've replied to the message or liked the message or whatever the action is that you need to do with it, you can then go over here and click mark this conversation as acknowledged, or you can star it or do whatever else you need to do with it. You do also have the option to search the messages or filter by types of messages or statuses as well. Next, we've got the social media listening feature. Now, this isn't going to be as powerful as a dedicated tool like Brand24 or Ario or something like that, because that is literally their bread and butter, but it's still very usable. So the idea here is that you'll use it to pull in mentions from across the web based on keyword searches. You create them by clicking the Add Listener button here, and you can name it, add the keywords that you want to include or exclude, and select your profiles down the left hand side. Hit save, and then it will start pulling in data. Now, you can do this for branded searches or any other keyword that you want. I've done a branded search to pull in some mentions for Blogging Wizard, which is pulled in here. Once it's pulled in some mentions for you, you can then engage with them. You can create tasks and assign that mention to somebody else, so it's a good thing for reputation management. Now, the one thing that isn't obvious is that if you want to reply to them directly, you just need to click here. Just click on the post and it will open it up in the inbox. It's not immediately obvious, but that's just something to be aware of. Now, you can also add filters, so you can select by the type of message, whether it be a mention, message, comment, review. Then you can select status, so we've got new results, acknowledged, spam, so a bunch of options there. Next, we've got the reviews feature. This provides a centralized dashboard for replying to reviews pulled in from Trustpilot, TripAdvisor, Yelp, and OpenTable. So if you have either of those accounts connected, it will pull in your reviews, and you can look at all of them. You can look at what's not been responded to. You can see what responses have gone out. You can even run keyword searches up here. If you want to filter by specific platforms, you can select them on the left hand side. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those accounts, so I can't show you them working, but this is a super feature. A lot of brands need this, so it's very nice that they've included it. Here we have the task management page. So in other parts of the tool, for example, when you're composing a post, you can assign it to somebody. When you're in the inbox, you can assign comments and mentions to a team member. And this is the page where you will see all of your open tasks. You can filter by profile on the left-hand side. You can filter via open, priority open, closed tasks, or you can view all the tasks. There's also some filtering options on the right-hand side, or you can add a task directly into the task management system right here. Next, we've got the reporting and analytics section. Now, with Vista Social, it works a little bit differently to some tools. Some tools will give you an instant snapshot of analytics, whereas with Vista Social, you have to run a report first. Now, you can choose to run a report, schedule a report, or use the report builder. The run report option will give you a few different types of reports. So we've got social media performance, post performance, review performance, task performance, and competitor analysis. So it pulls together all of the other aspects of the tool, which is nice. Now, if we schedule a report, we can choose from some of those reporting types. We can select a time frame, the date and time. We can also select how many times we'd like to run the report. We can add recipients, so these will be your own team members, but we can also add recipient email addresses, so that's ideal if you've got clients or something like that, and you can automate your reporting, which is nice. There's also the report builder, so you can build out your own template here. Now, all of the data that you will see here is sample data, and once the report runs, it will be replaced with your own data. So on the right hand side, you can customize what elements of the reports you want in there. By default, you've got quite a few options for each different network, and you've got the cross-channel one, and you can add a cover page as well. And some of the headings, as you scroll down, you'll be able to change those as well. And then you can either reset this, or you can save that template. The last major feature that I have to show you is the Pages tab, and this is where you'll be able to create and edit your bio link pages. So this is super useful for platforms like Instagram and TikTok. It all started with Instagram in mind because there was no way to add clickable links aside from the link in your bio. So let's go ahead and create a new page. I'm going to select a template here, DJ Neo. I'll enter a name for the page. I'll select a brand, and it's created the page for us. Now we can go ahead and customize it. We can change the colors via a theme template, or we can create a custom theme if you prefer. There's the options to change the header, the buttons, text, and all of that kind of stuff. We've got another tab for layout. This is where we will be able to drag and drop the different blocks to change the order on the page, and we can also hide them if we want to, or delete them instead, or we can click on them and customize them as required. Now, if we want to add more blocks, just click on the add block button, and we can add more buttons, text, images, social links. We can embed YouTube videos and all of that kind of thing. The other nice option is the image links grid, because there are typically two main types of bio link pages. You have the ones which are just a series of button links with other content blocks added, and then there's the grid version, which is designed to replicate how your Instagram profile looks. So if one of your followers checks out one of your posts and it says check out the link in my bio, and they go to your bio, they click on the link, and they might not be able to find it because you've published a bunch of other posts, etc., etc. So the image link grid allows you to replicate your profile, so it's a bit easier for followers to pick out. And let's just go ahead and publish the page. We can choose a name for it and it will have vista.page at the end, and that's done. So you just copy that link, add it to your Instagram bio, and that's it. Now, before we talk about pros and cons and wrap up the review, let's talk briefly about pricing. Now, the prices here are current as of the time that I'm filming the video. By the time you see the video, these prices may have changed, as is the case with a lot of these tools. So I would recommend just heading over to the Vista Social website just to confirm the current pricing. You'll find links for that in the description below. But at the moment we're starting off at $39 a month all the way up to $379 a month. You can save 20% by going for yearly billing. There's a 14-day free trial with no credit card required. The main issue that I have with the pricing is that it's feature gated, but this is common amongst a lot of tools, so you won't get everything on the base plan, unfortunately, but you do get all of the essential things. So publishing tools, media tools, engagement tools, you've got the AI assistant, the mobile app reporting and analytics, and the link in bio tool. If you wanted the social listening functionality and the review management, you'd have to bump it up to the professional plan for $79 a month. And I think for agencies, it works out quite affordable. I mean, we've got $379 a month on the enterprise plan for 80 social profiles and unlimited users. That is quite affordable compared to other tools on the market. The entry level plan is a bit higher than I'd like it to be, really. It's more expensive than the likes of Pally and Social Bee. But overall, I think what you get for the money is quite good. What about Vista Social's pros and cons? Let's start with the good stuff first. Okay, so it is an all-in-one social media management tool. So you've got everything from publishing and scheduling content, you've got the social inbox, you've got social listening, you've got review management, there's a task management feature in there, you've got analytics and reporting, there's even a bio-link tool. Typically, most tools that we would classes or an all-in-one social media management tool would give you the option to publish and schedule content, engage with your audience, whether it be via inbox or social streams, and then give you some form of reporting or analytics. So this does all of that and a fair bit more. The UI is quite straightforward. Going through the tool, everything is rather self-explanatory. So that's brilliant. Now, let's have a look at the integrations. This is the other thing that I quite like about it, the number of platforms that it integrates with. So it's got the obvious ones, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, that kind of thing. But it's got a couple that you wouldn't expect in terms of social media platforms. For example, Reddit and Snapchat, you just generally don't see those. Not that many tools integrate with Pinterest either. Not too many cover Tumblr. Now, there are review platforms like Trustpilot, Yelp, TripAdvisor and OpenTable, and you've also got Bitly, Google Analytics, YouTube as well. So pretty good in terms of integrations. There's a lot of ground being covered. So the next thing is the social inbox. What I particularly like about the social inbox is that it still works with Twitter. Not many tools can say that, so that is very, very nice to see. And you've also got the bio-link pages included as well. You don't need to go for another tool. Everything is in one place. And the AI content suggestions are quite good. They are far better than I was expecting. Now let's talk about the drawbacks. The main one is that there is no facility for requeuing or rescheduling content. So if your focus is on evergreen content, it's not going to be a good fit. Something like Social Bee is going to be much more appropriate. You do have queues, but it's not going to allow you to requeue or recycle any of your content. Once the content has been published, that's it. If you wanted to reschedule it or requeue it, you would have to create the social media post from scratch and then go through the scheduling process again. The other one worth mentioning is publishing queues. Now, this feels like a bit of an afterthought we can add time slots, this, that, and the other. We can select which days, we can select various different times, etc. Now, they're all tied to specific brands and specific profiles. So this is a little bit limited in a sense, because with some tools, for example, SocialBee, you can create different schedules for different types of content. Whereas with this, you've got to have a queue for each profile. That might be enough for you, and if it is, that's fine, but it's something worth noting regardless. Now, there is a minor issue that I have with the way that the reporting and analytics works. For the most part, it's great. The only thing that I wish that it did was give you an instant snapshot of your analytics, but currently you would have to run the report each time you want to view any of your analytics. The last issue that I want to mention is with the content discovery tool. Now, for the most part, this is perfectly fine, but when you're searching for news, Instagram hashtags and Instagram users, the results can be a little bit on the irrelevant side sometimes. As we saw earlier with the search for SEO, now that brought back a bunch of news articles that weren't relevant in any way. Some were loosely relevant, some were relevant. Overall, there weren't as many articles being pulled in as I'd like to see, but it's not a massive issue really. I think with this part of the tool, it's just going to be more useful looking for images, GIFs and videos. They're usually the best way to start creating a new piece of content. What's the verdict then? Well, overall, Vista Social is a solid tool. It's got all of the features that you would expect an all-in-one social media management tool to have, and a bunch that you wouldn't expect it to have. Those are really nice additions. I'm talking about the social listening, the review management, and the bio link pages. It's really, really nice to see those. I'm sure dedicated tools, particularly for bio link pages and social listening, dedicated tools are always going to do those things better. That's just a given. But to find it in Vista Social as well, considering the asking price, is very, very good. Now, the main concerns that I have really, it's really the evergreen content. I mean, the content queues felt like a bit of an afterthought, but really they are still usable. The evergreen content thing, you just don't have the ability to reschedule content. Maybe they might add it in the future, but right now it's not an option. So that's the main thing to consider when you're deciding between Vista Social and another tool. It is pretty much the evergreen content. Do you want that in it? If you do need that kind of feature, I'd say check out SocialBee. It does that extremely well. But if it's not a deal breaker and you don't think you'll need that kind of feature, then Vista Social, definitely a strong contender. But the most important thing is what you think. I like the UI. I think it's brilliant. But the main thing is, do you? So I'll put links in the description below so you can check out Vista Social. They do offer a free trial, so I'd recommend signing up and giving it a go and see what you think. And that's a wrap. I'll put some links to Vista Social in the description below. If you found this useful, be sure to like, comment and subscribe to get a heads up about new videos, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.